Women Who Own It podcast spotlights women business owners who are pioneers in their field, setting trends, blazing trails, and creating game-changing innovations. Brought to you by WeBank, the largest certifier of women-owned businesses in the U.S. and a leading advocate for women business owners and entrepreneurs. And me, Allison Maslan. I've been a business owner for the last 35 years. I'm the Wall Street Journal best-selling author of the book Scale or Fail. So join our bold community of women who built it, grew it, and own it. I'll see you on the show. The Women Who Own It podcast is supported by Target Corporation, a women-owned corporation. Welcome to Women Who Own It podcast, brought to you by WeBank, the largest certifier of women-owned businesses. The Women Who Own It podcast is supported by Target, a women-owned corporation. The show is for women business leaders, by women business leaders. And I'm your host, Allison Maslan, founder of Pinnacle Global Network, where we mentor business owners around the world to scale their companies. Now, our guest today is Stephanie Morimoto, and she is the owner and CEO of Asutra, a brand of clean, accessibly priced wellness products for active self-care. Before Asutra, Stephanie worked for two national education organizations, generating $500 million in revenue and growing them 3 to 4 times their size. Now, she's passionate about working with smaller businesses and women entrepreneurs. And Asutra has been featured on Good Morning America, People Magazine, and even Oprah Magazine. So Stephanie, welcome to Women Who Own It.
Thank you so much for having me, Allison. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we are thrilled to have you, and what you have created is so impressive. And I know we just got back from the WeBank National Conference. And I personally didn't see you there. There was so many people there, but you just mentioned to me that it was your first conference. How was it?
It was great. It was a lot of energy. I know. I think there were thousands of people there. It was our first time. We just got certified as a women-owned business this year. We got to do a demo station where we were pretty much mobbed the whole time, so that was great. A lot of different women wanting to learn about Asutra. We even had some people buy all the product that we brought with us. And then we got to do a panel discussion with Target about our journey into retail. So it was an incredible experience, and I feel like just a vibe of kindness and support and everybody wanting to come together and help each other out with their businesses, which was great.
Yes, I experienced similar. Everybody was so open and wanting to support women business owners, which is so, so refreshing. And the conference was amazing. It was wonderful to get together in person. So
yes, exactly.
Now, you have so much wisdom to share, and I really want to hear your strategies to growing those two national education companies 3 to 4 times their size. But first, what led you to become a business owner in the first place?
Yeah, for me, it's a really personal journey. I was doing a lot of intense work, including at those two national education nonprofits. I had worked at McKinsey. I had also helped women of color start small businesses. And I was in jobs where I was working 18-hour days sometimes. I was on a plane all the time. I was in a different hotel room, every night of the week. And there was a moment where I just hit a wall. I had burned out. I was crying myself to sleep at night. I was exhausted. And I realized, oh my gosh, I have burned out. I cannot do this anymore. And for me, that started this decades-long journey of wellness. What are the things that I can do to take care of myself better so that I feel great, I feel healthy, and I can therefore be better in everything that I do, but also in who I am in the world. And that's really what led me to build Asutra, where our mission is what we call active self-care. We make and sell products to help you take care of yourself on purpose so that you can be your best in life.
Wow, that's so powerful. And I really feel that a lot of women can relate to your story. I know I can relate to your story, and getting that real wake-up call, like, I need to take care of myself, So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so now you were originally a customer of Asutra, before you bought the
Yes.
company. So that's
Yes.
amazing. So what was the attraction for you? What inspired you to look at this product and then say, okay, I'm going to buy this business?
Yeah, I love the product so much that I bought the brand. I mean, in all seriousness, that's sort of what happened. So for me, as I mentioned, I was on this wellness journey. I started doing a lot more movement. Part of that movement routine was doing more yoga. I love yoga for the meditative qualities, but also the sweat session. And I was looking for a really good yoga mat cleaner for my mat. I had found one on Amazon, bought it. It didn't really work. And then I searched for more, and I found another one called Asutra with this lovely lavender essential oil, a very natural Castile soap base. So I started using that. And then, when you shop on Amazon, they give you recommendations of other products by that brand.
Right.
And I thought, oh, wow, this is quite a variety of products. There was an organic eucalyptus body scrub, there was a menthol pain cream. I tried both of those and loved those too. And then through serendipity, I got connected to the founders. They were serial entrepreneurs who had started, built, sold, failed at a number of different businesses. They had built Asutra for about 18 months, and they were looking to sell it so that they could put the proceeds into the next business they were building in a totally unrelated field. And they were really excited about the idea of selling the business to somebody who'd been a loyal user. And when I looked at the business and did my due diligence, I thought, wow, there's a really good product catalog here. There's thousands and thousands of passionate customer reviews. And I think there's a real opportunity to build more of a real brand and a real story, as well as diversify the revenue. When I bought the business, it was 99% on Amazon. So a great place to start in that there was cash flow, there was real traction, but I knew that we had a lot of opportunity if we could also get into retail and build our own D2C site.
Wow, that's incredible. And it says a lot that you fell in love with the product and then wanted to buy the business. So, I mean, that's right. That's what it's all about. So you can say you were this happy customer,
Yes.
and you weren't there just to make money. You actually really loved the business, and that I think is a real attraction
Yes.
for customers. Now, you are a big advocate for self-care. You were just talking about yoga, and I mean, after your kind of wake-up call that said, I need to take better care of myself. And, your company really reflects that with products for sleep and helping with stress. Why are phrases like girl boss and hustle mentality counterproductive to wellness?
Yeah, I just think, in general, I think we're in a society where we have this idea that in order to be valued, you have to be busy, you have to be productive. And while I think it's important to be able to hustle in the right ways as a small business owner, of course, if you're building something, you are going to be hustling in the sense that you will be building those relationships with your customers, whether they're individual customers or retail customers. You will be hustling to figure out what are the right marketing strategies. But I think with hustle comes the flip side of the coin, this idea that we always have to be frenetic. We always have to be moving and having a meeting and working constantly. And if we're not always busy, if we're not always hustling, if we always don't come off as this boss where we seem really important and constantly doing something, then we don't have as much value. And we at Asutra are here to say, no, wait, like it's important to pause. It's important to sleep 8 to 9 hours a night. It's important to take a moment to just breathe. It's important to rest. You don't have to work hard in order to deserve rest. It's actually like your body needs it. You have to actually rest in order to be rejuvenated, in order to recover, in order to be your best, to be the most creative, to be a great entrepreneur, but also to be a great person, friend, mother, wife, spouse, whatever it might be. And so I think, in our culture, we have to really push against this idea that productivity equals value and instead say, hey, self-care isn't selfish. You're going to be your best if you're doing things from a rejuvenated, from a full cup.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're talking about this because, in a sense, we know it, but it's so easy to get caught up in the hustle, right? And just that extra hour of sleep makes all the difference. You feel like a different human being, you know? And even approaching a
Absolutely.
problem at night, and then you see it in the morning after a good rest, and you're like, oh yeah, I got an answer for that, when you could be pulling your hair out at night trying to figure it out because your brain is just not firing on all cylinders when you're tired.
Exactly. Well, and you're more patient, right? So whether
Yes.
you're doing things with your team or with your family, when you're rested, you can be more patient. And so not only are you better at problem solving, as you said, or you're more creative, you're just a patient and kinder person in the world. And I think that's really important too.
100%. And we need that as leaders running our business with teams. We need to have that patience. So now, Venus Williams is your brand ambassador. We all want to know, how did you make that? How did you connect with her? How did you make that happen? And how is she serving you and your company values?
So the thing I like to say is the one thing Venus and I have in common is we both started as users of the product at Asutra. So Venus was also using our pain relief creams as part of her training regimen. She had found them online as well. And she actually had her team cold call us at Asutra to find out more about the brand. So you can imagine what a crazy cold call that was to get. I had a great call with her team, who did not share that he was calling on behalf of the great Venus Williams. He just said, hey, I'm calling, from this talent agency. I'd love to learn more about your brand. So I'm telling him all about our mission of active self-care, that we're women-owned, women-led, that we're committed to creating good jobs for people who need them most at Asutra, and that we're creating great products that work to help with, as you said, sleep, stress relief, pain relief with natural, clean ingredients. And he says, this sounds amazing. I love this. And I said, well, this has been a great chat, but I'm really curious. How did you find out about us? And he said, well, you're probably not going to believe this, but Venus Williams uses your products, and she asked us to call you. So, of course, my jaw just dropped. And it was a great start to a great set of conversations. So we continued talking to her team. We actually got the opportunity to sit down with her for over an hour right before the US Open to present to her where we were with Asutra, where we wanted to take it. She is herself an entrepreneur. She runs a couple of her own businesses. So she had these great questions about marketing and product development and all of the things that you do when you're a small business owner. And she said, well, I don't get involved with a lot of stuff. This was back in 2019. She said, but I really love what you stand for, and I'd love to get involved and help you build the business and the brand. So she joined us as a part owner and chief brand officer, and she helps us with announcing new products, new partnerships like with Target, as well as doing press interviews about our products and how she integrates them into her wellness routines.
Well, congratulations on that
Thank you.
partnership, because, obviously she's got an incredible amount of visibility, which really helps. But you have someone too that really aligns with this idea of self-care, as a successful woman. So that's fantastic. Now, I'm all about scaling companies. That's what we help business owners do at Pinnacle Global Network. So I'd love to talk about team for a moment. Why is the environment of community important to you in the workplace?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, it's been really important to us at Asutra to create good jobs for people who need them most. Given my education and nonprofit background, I just saw the impact of resources not going to communities over time, right? Where history has led to a situation where structurally certain people just don't have the same access. They're not on a level playing field. And for us at Asutra, if we could create that level playing field for people who really wanted to step up and build different opportunities for themselves and their families, then we wanted to be a part of doing that. So for us, I would say community means a few different things. It's definitely about our team. We have a set of core values that define our culture, and the top one is one team, one goal. We're all in this together. We've got each other's backs, And we're all hands on deck when we need to be, right? When we got the news that we were going to launch in every Target store, everybody pulled together to do everything that was needed to make that launch and the ongoing sell-through a success. So that's really important for our team. We also really look at our customers as community. Another one of our core values is customer service is tops. We will do the right thing for the customer no matter what. And we really care about them, right? We want them to be satisfied. We want them to be advocates for not only Asutra products, but also our mission of active self-care and taking care of yourself on purpose. And so we really embrace them, not only in our customer service, but in getting feedback on our new products, what we can do better, and how we can evolve as a business.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And, having the core values, number one, that's attractive as a customer, but just so that everybody knows, what is that one thing that we're all focused on. So you've got that alignment, and that's powerful. And I know that business owners struggle with that a lot, feeling like there's a lot of chaos going on. So getting everyone focused on what the end goal is critical. And so what do you believe makes someone a good manager or a better leader?
Well, I love what you just said about how a lot of business owners feel like there's so much chaos. What do you do about this? And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the hustle mentality, right? I think so often it feels like chaos because we're running around doing 100 things at once, both because of this cultural push that we feel like we have to be productive to be valued, but also, as you alluded to, maybe because we haven't set the clearest vision and goals, and we haven't communicated those expectations to our team. And so for me, I always like to say, look, we're not doing emergency room surgery here. We're not trying to save somebody's brain or heart, right? There really are no emergencies in selling pain relief cream. We are trying to, do good stuff, sell good stuff to people to help them feel better and have fun while doing it. And for me, that really starts with, as a manager and leader, setting a clear vision, setting clear goals, not setting too many goals either. I've always said, look, we're going to have 3 goals max, and then setting clear expectations, right? The team needs to know, okay, how do we treat each other? That's where the core values come in. What are your specific goals as an individual or as a team that contribute to the larger company goals? And then how do we prioritize? We can't do everything as a small business either. And once you are all aligned around that vision and goals and the core values, it actually becomes a lot easier to prioritize and say, that's something we're going to say no to because the reward is probably not worth the effort that we're going to put into it, or maybe that's not totally aligned with where we want to take the company.
Yeah, that just what you said makes you want to go, because I love, really weighing the reward. Like, is it worth adding in this other project? Is it going to really make a difference and move the needle? And I do think that is a mistake a lot of business. I know I made that mistake early on, trying to do 100 projects within a quarter, and everybody's, going in different directions. And it actually, you end up going, you're not moving forward, you're spinning.
Well, and I think that's a really important reflection. Look, we learned that over time, right? We were really lucky, honestly, that we got a lot of opportunities coming to us. And I'll be honest, my instinct is to be opportunistic. When those opportunities come our way, my instinct is to say, oh, how do we make it happen? And I'm really lucky to have a team of colleagues who push my thinking and who say, look, but we set this vision and we set this goal. Does that opportunity truly align with that goal? And that back and forth, that push and pull with the team, I think has really helped me as a leader, but also us as a team, do what you just did. Pause, exhale, and say, okay, what are the things we're going to say yes to, but what's the longer list of things we're going to say no to?
Yeah, and you even have a hashtag, do one thing. Like,
yes.
Explain that.
Yeah, so we had this series of conversations with both retail buyers and customers where we started to see this theme emerge where they were all saying, sometimes everybody talks about self care, and sometimes it just seems so overwhelming. Like, I've got to have this perfect exercise routine and drink a gallon of water and be vegan. And then every night I have to draw a bath and have candles and flower petals. And like, I just can't do the whole thing, right?
That's so stressful.
And that, right? They're like, I'm stressed out thinking about my self care. But those conversations made us realize, oh my gosh, there has been this thing, especially on social media, where it feels like if you're doing self care, it's yet another job. And our point is like, no, you can do something that just brings you joy, right? Maybe it's stepping outside and looking at the tree in your front yard for 5 minutes. Maybe it's you work in a warehouse and you go into the bathroom and you spritz some mist that you love the scent of and you inhale for 3 counts. Our thing was like, oh gosh, that's so not what we stand for at Asutra. It's about these simple things that you can do that you'll actually build a habit out of, right? And that will make you feel better and that will really help you feel well over time. And so that's why we started posting things about these tips, these tricks, these things that you could just start doing, hopefully stick to for 3 weeks, because they say it takes 3 weeks to build a habit. And then if you really find yourself incorporating that into your day-to-day, maybe you add a second thing. And so we would say, for example, go to bed at the same time every night, or don't bring your phone into your bed, or, get up at the same time every morning, or drink enough water every day. And then we would hashtag it, do one thing, with the encouragement to people to say, like, just try one thing that you think will make you feel better instead of feeling like you have to do 10 things. Because let's be honest, when you also feel like, oh, there's a list of 10 things, then I'm just not going to do any of them, right? But if there's one little thing, then I might stick to it.
You know what? That's just, it's those little things, like taking that one little moment, like you said. I think that's where the overwhelm comes in, when there's just exactly too many things. I know I have these vitamins that I stare at every morning, and I was struggling with taking them in the morning because they affect my stomach. And so, but I found that when I take them at night before I go to bed, they don't. So I was just like, okay, well, that works for me. I'm going to take these before I go to bed at night. And so and then I felt better about myself because I was actually doing something for self-care. And so, you got to find those little moments, those little things that can make you feel better. And what are some things that you do, Stephanie, for yourself to create work-life balance? You're a CEO, you run this company, and you obviously have a lot on your plate. What are some things that you personally do?
So sleep is my number one tip. I am a big believer in sleep. Adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep minimum, and I think it's something like 40% of us are sleep deprived. So I get 8 to 9 hours of sleep at night on a consistent basis. That's my number one. Drink enough water. I think it's really important to stay hydrated. And movement. I love to move. So whether it's a walk, or for me, it could be yoga or Pilates or a weight workout. I do a lot of different types of movement. Those are 3 key things that I like to do for my self-care.
Yeah, I think the sleep is a big one, right? There's so much recovery that happens there. I used to be I am a night owl, I will say. But my night owl now ends around 11. It used to be like 1 or 2. So I've learned that doesn't work for me anymore. And you don't schedule appointments while you travel. Can you share a story with us of why you set this boundary for yourself?
Yeah, so this is another thing I learned. Honestly, I used to, like I said, I would travel constantly. I had all these meetings that I felt like I had to do. And so to squeeze it all in, I would schedule calls while in the taxi or the Uber from the hotel to the airport. As soon as I landed, I would be on a call and then head to meetings. There were actually times where I'd be on a call in the Uber to the airport. I would get in the security line and I would say to people on the call, all right, I'm going to put the phone through the security, like in the security bin, and put it through the conveyor belt, and I'll pick you up on the other side. And I would keep the phone
Oh
on.
my gosh.
Craziness. Craziness, right? And so I was in this one organization, one of the two national education nonprofits I worked in, and there was a woman who was a little bit older. She had more experience, and I was trying to schedule a call with her. And she said, well, I'm traveling that day, so I'm not scheduling calls. And at the time, I thought, what? Like, we have to get this thing done. What are you talking about? And it took me a few years, but a few years later, I still vividly remembered that conversation. And I thought, well, she's right. I mean, is there anything that's so urgent it can't wait a day? And that made me realize, so I experimented with what she was doing. I was like, all right, if I'm traveling, I'm not going to schedule a call while I'm on my way to the airport or right as soon as I land. And it really did reduce my stress level. And I thought, okay, yeah, I'm going to follow what I thought was so crazy before, but turns out to be something that just personally works for me, where I can focus on getting to my destination, settling in, and then, focus on the calls or the meetings I need to do the next day.
Yeah, I mean, it does. We don't realize how it all catches up with us. And I do the same thing like when I'm on vacation. I used to do some meetings while I was on vacation, do some calls, and now I just don't. Like I'm going to Ireland, and, there was some things scheduled, and I said, in the big picture, in the end of the world, does this meeting really matter? Or that
Right.
time off, can you really be present and allow yourself to rejuvenate? So I think these are great reminders, because we often feel like, oh, I should, it's that responsibility that we carry as business owners. So you're allowed to have some breathing room.
Yeah, and I think you have to model that for your
Yes.
team too, right? That it is okay to take time off. It is okay to rest. And you'll actually probably be more productive and more thoughtful if you take that rest and then get back at it later.
Yes, 100%. Now, when I introduced you in your bio, you said that you had helped these two education companies grow to 3 to 4 times their size. Um, can you share a little bit of insight? Like, what were some of the strategies that helped you to accomplish that?
Yeah, absolutely. So they were both education nonprofits. One was called Teach for America, and they help high need, low income school districts recruit and train teachers. And then the other one was called New Leaders. And so it was very similar, but focused on principals and superintendents for high need public schools. So I'd say the biggest thing, we had, because it was a nonprofit, I share that because there were a couple prongs to growth. One was, can we raise the money to support the growth of the program? And then can we build the partnerships with the school systems so that there's real demand and support for the teachers and principals once they're recruited and placed in the right places. On the demand side, I think there was definitely need, right? We saw high need school districts in either urban or rural communities. They just need a lot of talent, and it's hard for them to recruit that talent. But they didn't have always the best systems or approaches to recruiting and retaining that talent. So there was definitely the need. And then the question was, how do we build relationships and partnerships with those school systems so they could see the value of what we could bring in terms of the types of talent that we could both recruit and train for them. So that was both like really understanding the need of the client, right? But also in schools, understanding the politics, right?
Yes.
So, urban school superintendents, for example, turn over every 2 to 3 years. And with a leadership change typically comes an agenda change. So how could you tell the story of the talent that you could recruit for them in such a way that really fit that agenda or that plan that the superintendent was putting forth? And then on the funding side, we had to make sure that there was private funding available to subsidize what the school districts could pay. Because again, we were serving high need school districts, so they didn't always have the money necessary to recruit, train, and retain the talent that we were bringing to them. So that was, there were a lot of different strategies there, but I would say the core thing was really storytelling, right? What was the vision? Again, what's the vision of what we're trying to do to create change and support these school systems to deliver a better education to their kids? What role does talent play in that? And how can you as a private funder be a part of that and really make a difference?
Wow, that's powerful. And that translates over to the private sector as well, not just nonprofit, right? We have to be aligned with the vision. And then just one last
Yes.
question, just because, here you got this company, Asutra, that was selling on Amazon. You're in Target, which is a major, major retailer with all kinds of locations. And you just shared with me before we got on here that you were on a panel with Target talking about getting into retail at the conference last week. For those that are listening and have a product and want to get into retail, what would be one thing that's really important that you learned that they should know?
I would say, and I said this on the panel too, I was really lucky to be able to talk to a lot of different entrepreneurs as I was growing Asutra, rebranding it, and getting it ready for retail. And one of the entrepreneurs I got to talk to was a gentleman named Peter Rahal, who founded RX Bar and ultimately sold for, hundreds of millions of dollars to a big company. And the thing that he said to me was, make sure that you really have the right product market fit. Is there a clear white space? And are you really filling that white space? He said, don't BS yourself as a founder. It can be so easy to fall in love with your own idea, your own product, but the data doesn't lie. And you really have to look at the data and see, are the sales growing? Do you have repeat customers? Are they buying what you're putting out there? Which products, which SKUs sell the best? And I thought that was really great advice. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier too, about what do you say yes to? What do you say no to? We've had products that we thought were going to be great. We launched them. They were duds and we cut them from the assortment. And so similarly, as we went into retail, we were super disciplined in looking at what were the specific SKUs that had the most traction online, that had the best reviews online, and that were very unique vis-a-vis anything else that were on the shelves at Target, for instance, or CVS, where we also are. And the ones that met all those criteria have done the best in retail as well.
Wow, that is, and that's hard to do as a business owner, right? Because you become so, I don't know, connected, falling in love with your product, but that can be dangerous because you're not the consumer. So,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And so that's so smart. And I do feel like a lot of business owners get into a cash flow crunch because they are carrying a lot of products that really aren't selling. So really,
Yes.
really good advice. And as we wrap up, this show is brought to you by WeBank, who's now celebrating 25 years. And I know you're a new member, a new certified member, but in this short time, how has WeBank impacted your business and your life?
I would say two things. One, it was our big goal to get into Target. Target has been incredibly supportive of Asutra as a newer brand, and they really pushed us to get certified by WeBank. And when we did, it immediately opened up so many opportunities within Target supplier diversity for marketing. For example, we were certified in January, and May was Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Target featured us at the top of their Asian American founders and creators page. My picture was on the Target.com homepage and the homepage of the app. They had some in-store signage. We did a kickoff event for their employee resource group, which built a lot of momentum and raised a lot of awareness. And they invited us to speak on this panel at the WeBank conference. So that has been a very specific impact. And then the second I would say is just that energy and that kindness I felt at the conference. It feels like there's so many people who, I was actually talking to some people at the conference who said, look, we're here and we do this because We want to lead our companies with our values. We want to support more women of people and people of color to elevate their businesses and be successful. And we want to sell good products and services that help people. And that's honestly what it's about. And to be able to be part of a community of people who share those values and live those values every day feels really supportive and is very exciting.
Wow, that's amazing. And this show is actually also supported by Target too. They are a great
Yes.
company. So, but yeah, there's just so many opportunities and the connections and the relationships that will build. So, Stephanie, thank you so much for being on the show. You brought some amazing wisdom about self-care, and really, staying aligned with your vision and values, and so much more. I wish you so much success, and let everybody know, it's so they can get your products now in Target and Asutra, online. What is your website?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Allison, for having me. So you can find Asutra in a lot of places, wherever you like to shop. You can find us at Target in the pain sleep aisle near the pharmacy. You can find us in CVS, also in the wellness aisle near the pharmacy. You can find us on Amazon, and you can find us at our website, asutra.com, which is ASUTRA.com. And then we're also available in a variety of natural products retailers. So iHerb.com, Grove Collaborative, Thrive Market, and Natural Grocers and Healthy Edge Grocers as well.
Fantastic. Well, I wish you much success, and looking forward to, seeing all the explosive opportunities that are coming your way. So if you
Thanks.
enjoyed the show, Women Who Own It, please share this with another businesswoman that you care about. They will so appreciate you, and definitely write a review if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the show. And if you also would like to learn more about how to grow and scale your own company, I want to send you a free copy of my book, Scale or Fail, which is a Wall Street Journal best-selling book endorsed by Damon John and Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank. So all you need to do is go to scaleorfail.com/WeBank, WBENC, and we're going to send it to you free of charge as my gift to you. And until next time, get out there and elevate yourself, because you are worth it. Bye, everybody.